Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Seiko 5 SRPE63K1. This watch is available from creationwatches.com for €151. So firstly, let's look at the box that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items one gets with the piece. So the watch comes in a cardboard watch box, which is protected by this white cardboard outer sleeve, which one removes. This is the watch box itself. As you can see, it's made from cardboard, and the watch sits inside a fabric upholstered padded cushion, as one would expect. So although basic, it does suffice in protecting the watch in shipping, and I think it's perfectly acceptable to use a cardboard watch box. Bear in mind that this is a low tier price point piece at only €151. With regards to other items, this is the tag that comes with the watch, and on the reverse we have the reference number of the piece, which is SRPE63K1. This is the owner's instruction manual. As you can see, it's a thick owner's instruction manual, clear concise diagrams, and the instructions are translated into multiple foreign languages. It details every aspect of the operation of the SRPE63K1, including the operation of the movement use, which is the caliber 4R36 automatic. One also gets this guarantee booklet, and it details the terms and conditions of the 12-month international guarantee. And lastly, one also gets this guarantee card. So purchasing the watch from Creation Watches, it comes stamped. They're an authorised Seiko dealer, and they also stamp it with the date of purchase. Now the benefit of buying the watch from creationwatches.com is it comes with a Seiko authorised international guarantee. So if one has a problem with the watch, one doesn't have to return it to creationwatches.com in Singapore. One can return it to any Seiko authorised dealer worldwide, and providing it has this guarantee card stamped and the date of purchase stamped, the Seiko authorised dealer will honour the 12-month international guarantee, which is very convenient in the event of replacing the watch under warranty. So, with regards to the specifications of the piece, this is the Seiko 5 SRPE63K1. I've previously reviewed the bracelet version of this watch, which is the SRPE53K1. Now, there is one notable difference between the two, the 63K1 and the 53K1 respectively. The bracelet version, the 53K1, has a mirror polished bezel. This version on the NATO strap, the 63K1, has a brushed satin finish to the bezel, which I actually think is better looking. But other than that, the two watches, the 63K1 and the 53K1, are identical. They have the same navy blue sunburst dial, so really the bezel and the bracelet are the only differences. So this watch has been nicknamed by Seiko collectors as the DressKX and also as the 5KX due to the case shape being similar to the SKX007 and SKX009 respectively. With regards to the dimensions, it has a 40mm case diameter. It has a 44.5mm lug-to-lug measurement, a thickness of 11.9mm, and a lug width of 20mm. The nylon NATO strap doesn't taper, it's parallel, 20mm at the lugs, 20mm at the buckle and tang. The stainless steel buckle and tang is signed to a high standard with Seiko engraved, good heavy gauge of metal to it, brushed satin finish throughout, and brushed satin finish to the stainless steel keepers. So I'll show you the stitching to the underside of the strap. As you can see, absolutely flawless stitching. The keepers are stitched either side so they don't slide out of position. Good quality stitching to the strap throughout, and it's a good heavy, thick nylon NATO strap. It's high quality, and I like the attention to detail, such as the fact the buckle and tang is signed with Seiko. So it's definitely a higher grade of strap than the low quality Chinese made straps one gets on AliExpress, for example. So I like the choice of a navy blue colour, which complements the navy blue sunburst dial. With regards to the rest of the specification, we have a Hardlex crystal, which is flat, and the negative of the Hardlex crystal is it does not have any AR coating. If I tilt the piece at an oblique angle in the light, as you can see, it is highly reflective. There is a lot of glare to it. This piece could be further enhanced if one modified it with a double dome sapphire crystal with AR coating. I would really like to see Seiko improve their Seiko 5 series by upgrading the Hardlex to sapphire crystal and including AR coating, because as you can see, the flat Hardlex crystal really does need clear AR coating to reduce the glare and the highly reflective nature of the silver applied indices and the silver hands. I like the silver applied Seiko brand logo at 12 o'clock, and I like the fact the dial isn't over-branded with unnecessary text and specification. It simply has the Seiko 5 emblem at 12 o'clock and automatic at 6 o'clock. So just the right amount of information. It's a day-date complication piece, and that's one thing I like about this Seiko 5. The 4R36 is a day-date complication movement, and it's the perfect daily wear piece. Good symmetry to the dial layout, clearly legible, and I like the indexed 60-minute ticks on the chapter ring. So with regards to the crown, it's a solid 316L grade stainless steel crown, as you can see. Unsigned, it's sterile. It simply has concentric lathe tool finishing to the cap. And I like the coin edge finishing. It's a very grippy and tactile crown. Now, it's a push-pull crown rather than being a screw-down crown, and this is one negative of the Seiko 5 series, including this SRPE63K1. Personally, I would prefer Seiko to use a screw-down crown as per the DressKX 007, but this is a feature of the Seiko 5KX, or the DressKX as it's also nicknamed, the push-pull crown. So let's test the action. Absolutely silky smooth. The benefit of having a push-pull crown rather than a screw-down crown is in the closed position one can manually wind it to top it up to its maximum 40 hours. So one can feel the tension in the mainspring gradually building up. Absolute pleasure to manually wind. Pulling it out to the first click position is the day-date complication quick set position. Rotating the crown clockwise advances the day complication. As you can see, it's bilingual both in Japanese and also in English. And rotating it anti-clockwise advances the quick set date complication, as you can see, and that also works as one would expect. Pulling it out to the second click is the final click position, and as you can see, that hacks the movement. I've now stopped the second hand dead, and one can set the time precisely to the second. So I like the fact the 4R36 has hand winding and also hacking. So absolutely silky smooth, both clockwise and anti-clockwise. Very light resistance to the gearing in the 4R36, so it's an absolute pleasure to set the time. Pushing it back in's got a nice positive click, and that restarts the movement. So the push-pull crown provides an effective hermetic seal to 100 meters of water resistance, which is perfectly adequate for a daily wear piece. Right, so I'll give you a wrist shot, and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now, I've previously reviewed the bracelet version, and I actually prefer this NATO strap version because I think the brushed satin finish looks better on the bezel. But the other thing is, the bracelet on the SRPE63K1 really is poor quality because it has a pressed metal clasp, which is very disappointing. Now, I'm pleased to report that this nylon NATO strap does actually fit my 8-inch wrist. As you can see, there's plenty of holes. It would actually fit up to an 8.5-inch wrist, and that's a pleasant surprise because, as you'll know from my previous reviews, often straps and bracelets are just a fraction too short for my large 8-inch wrist. But I can actually engage the end of the strap in both of the stainless steel keepers, and that's even sizing it so it's loose. I can even fit an index finger underneath the nylon NATO strap. So this NATO strap will fit up to an 8.5-inch wrist, which is very good. Now, as you can see, it looks absolutely sublime on the navy blue NATO strap. It complements the navy blue sunburst dial very well. The brushed satin finish of the SRPE63K1 gives it a more field watch or military issue tool watch aesthetic compared to the bracelet version, which is the SRPE53K1, which has a mirror polished bezel. And I think the mirror polished bezel doesn't really suit it because it makes it look like a dress piece rather than a field watch or a tool watch. So absolutely gorgeous. The only negative is the lack of AR coating on the underside of the Hardlex crystal. Hardlex really is a compromise. It's not as scratch resistant as sapphire, but it's chemically treated, so it's meant to be more scratch resistant than mineral crystal. But however, that's subjective, it's divisive. Some collectors would argue that Hardlex is no more scratch resistant than mineral crystal, which has been coated or chemically treated. Personally, I would prefer Seiko to use sapphire crystal, but Hardlex is what they use in the Seiko 5. It's got a relatively short lug-to-lug measurement of only 44.5, so if you're a collector with a 6 to 7-inch wrist, this will fit you very well. Bear in mind that this NATO strap is double pass, so there's 2 layers of fabric. I think the fit of this piece could be further enhanced on a rubber strap or alternatively a leather strap, because that would mean there aren't 2 layers of NATO strap running underneath the flat screw down exhibition case back. It's a relatively low profile piece at only 11.9mm, so it's easily going to slip underneath a shirt cuff if you wear business shirts, and therefore an ideal daily wear piece because it's a day-to-day complication piece. The legibility of the dial is absolutely outstanding. 20mm lug width is the perfect proportions for the 40mm head of the piece. So the proportions, the feel good factor and the comfort level are all sublime. It really is an incredible practical daily wear piece. Right, so let's do a Lume test and we'll see how the Lume performs when it's charged up to the absolute maximum. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge this up to the absolute peak. Now I've got high expectations of this piece because it uses Seiko Lume Bright. One thing I like about Seiko is they use the same grade of Lume Bright on their low tier pieces such as the Seiko 5 series as their more expensive pieces such as their Pro Specs. Pieces such as the Marine Master and Sumo, for example, the exact same grade of Lume Bright is used throughout the Seiko range. Right, so that's now fully charged, and as you can see, it has not disappointed. This is incredible Seiko Lume Bright. Really, I don't think there's any difference in performance between Seiko Lume Bright and the Rolex Chromalites used on my Submariner. And bear in mind, this is a low-tier piece costing only €151. So to get this 10 out of 10 performance of Seiko Lume Bright is a credit to Seiko. It's glowing incredibly brightly, and it will continue to glow for a good length of time. The SKX style hands are very good. One can clearly differentiate between the arrowhead minute hand and also the pointed hour hand. I also like the Lume dot on the counterweight of the sweeping second hand, and the dial legibility is outstanding. The orientation of the dial is very good, the symmetry is good. So this is an example to other watch brands of how to get it correct. It's top quality Lume and several layers of it applied. It really is equal in quality to Swiss BGW9 Superluminova, Rolex Chromalite or C3 Superluminova. I really like the green tone of it. It's a brighter green tone than C3 Superluminova. It looks more like X1 GLC1 Superluminova. So I really like it. I think the tone is good, the brightness is good, and of course it's continuing to glow very brightly. This really is top quality Seiko Lume Bright. So something I really like about the piece. Right, so let's discuss the movement used because it's one of my favourite aspects of the piece. So I'll show you the screw down exhibition case back. Just bear with me and I'll remove the NATO strap. So the screw down exhibition case back is glazed with mineral crystal. And as you can see, it does a good job of displaying the movement use, which is the Seiko 4R36 automatic. It's an undecorated movement with the exception of Seiko 5 laser etched on the rotor. Now the architecture of the 4R36 is very similar to the NH35A and also the 4R35A, which is the date complication version of this movement. The only real difference in the architecture of the two movements is the 4R36 has a day-date complication, so it has a day wheel added to it, but other than that, the 4R35 and the 4R36 are identical. So it's a reliable, well-proven workhorse movement. It has 24 joules. It runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 3 Hz. It has hand winding and hacking, which is used for complications, 40-hour power reserve, which is perfectly acceptable. The stated accuracy of the 4R36 is -35 to +45 seconds per day, so a rather wide accuracy range. However, I'm pleased to report that Seiko are well regulating the 4R36 movements used in their Seiko 5s. This one is running consistently at +6 seconds per day, which is excellent. So it's a good, reliable, solid workhorse movement, and +6 seconds per day at this price point is very impressive. The 4R36 is the correct choice. The Seiko SKX 007 and SKX 009 respectively used the 7S26, and the negative of the 7S26 was that it didn't have hacking. It had hand winding, but one couldn't hack the movement to set the time precisely to the second. The 4R36 is a better movement than the 7S26 used in the SKX because it does have hacking, and I really like it. It's a well-proven movement and it's used in several other Seiko pieces such as the Seiko Turtle SRPE series. So it really is a very good quality movement to have in a low-tier piece such as this Seiko 5KX or DressKX as it's called. So just bear with me and I'll put the NATO strap back on, and then lastly I'll summarise the piece. So, what do I think of the piece overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet two criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price points. So this is €151 on the NATO strap. The bracelet version, the SRPE63K1, is more expensive. I think this is the correct choice because one can upgrade the NATO strap to a strap code Super Oboya, and I've previously reviewed that on my channel. I fitted it to my SKX 009 and I can highly recommend it. So really, to evaluate this piece, one needs to consider the quality of the finishing to the head of the piece. As I've detailed, the SRPE63K1 has a brushed satin finished bezel, which I think is better looking than the mirror polished bezel on the bracelet version, the SRPE53K1. The quality of the case polishing is equal to more expensive Seiko Pro Specs pieces, such as the Marine Master and the Sumo, for example. I like the fact it has holes in the lugs because that makes changing the strap for a bracelet easier. It's easier to use a spring bar tool in the holes, and that's something I really like about the 5KX. It has holes, something that the Seiko SKX 009 doesn't have, and the SKX 007. Flawless mirror polishing to the flanks, which contrasts with the brushed satin finishing to the tops of the lugs. The quality of the finishing to the bezel, the case itself, and also the screw down exhibition case back are 10 out of 10. It's absolutely flawless. No sharp edges, no burrs whatsoever. It's just a very well finished case. Exactly the same quality case finishing as on the SKX 007. So Seiko deserve full credit. Really, the only cost cutting measure is the use of a push-pull crown rather than a screw-down crown as per the SKX. But other than that, the quality of the finishing, the build quality, the quality control is all 10 out of 10. So it's excellent quality and it's excellent value, and therefore I'm going to declare it a champagne watch for lemonade money. I like this watch so much I have decided to add it to my own personal collection, and that really is the highest compliment I can pay a watch. I have reviewed over 200 watches on my channel, and this is one of my personal favourites, and I'm really going to be looking forward to wearing it in rotation with my Rolex Submariner. I think this is the perfect daily wear piece, and I'm going to highly recommend it to you for your consideration. So I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Seiko 5KX or Seiko DressKX, the SRPE63K1. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.